Well, I believe Jen Holmgren is going to be joining us. She is the outgoing, come on in, Jen,
Come on in,
at-large
sit down.
councilor for Gloucester and a Ward 5. You'll love to hear this. A Ward 5
Ward
resident.
5, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Which ward do you live in?
We live in Ward 5.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
5, Precinct 2, but Magnolia Ave.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
great
Jen,
to
for
see
joining
you.
us. And if you just
sure.
think of it, just be close and just loud to the mic. if
Okay,
possible.
Yeah.
okay,
Yes,
thank you.
You can be
All right.
shouty like me. if
My
needed.
projection voice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
from the diaphragm. Got
Well,
it.
thanks so much for joining us.
Thank
Jen.
you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And so right off the top, we know, so you're not running again. I know
Right.
you explained it through social posts and all that, and through the Times. So would you like to just reiterate your decision?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, so it's been a really wonderful few years of being a counselor at large, but COVID sort of drove the point home that I need to spend a little more time at home. We have a daughter who's going into 6th grade, and I really want to be mom for a little while, but I'm not leaving Gloucester. I mean, I still want to volunteer. I've volunteered before I was on city council. I would like to apply to be on a couple of commissions for the city just to stay active and to serve in the best way I know how.
I'd kind of like to know why you did decide to run, Jen, and why Councilor at Large?
Well, it's a long story, but I've volunteered on campaigns. I've been politically active for a very long time, 9 years now. And I think I said this in my social media post. I got involved with politics after the Sandy Hook massacre, and I'm sad that it took me that long to figure out that I could be of assistance that way. But I really threw myself into it, and it's funny. There's the thought that women need to be asked 6 times, bare minimum, to really feel like they are comfortable running for office, and I was counting the number of times I was asked, and it was at least 6 by different people, but I decided that I could help out best by running for council. And at large, our Ward 5 councilor, Sean Nolan, is terrific. I felt that Ward 5 was in good hands. It's very important to me to be a steward of the city without causing division as best as I can. So I've lived in wards 5, 4, and 2. So I'm familiar with a lot of issues around the city in my lifetime, and so that's where I felt I could best help.
And so what challenges have you faced in the last year trying to serve the community through the pandemic?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I mean, the pandemic just rocked everybody's world, and there were some people who really had to deal with it. I mean, I'm a nurse, but I wasn't on the front line. I was not at the bedside. I have a job as an adult foster care nurse, so we were able to go onto Zoom to do our visits, and I'm very happy that we're back in the house visiting people, because it doesn't feel like nursing to do that, although it's safer for everybody. But I felt responsible for helping the community to learn as much as they could about the coronavirus, to help people who were on the front lines. And that doesn't just include healthcare workers. I mean, the retail workers really put themselves on the line every single day, and they had to wait the longest for vaccinations. My best friend works as the bakery manager at Market Basket, and I just watched every single day as she and her coworkers dove in and did the best they could to serve people. So I felt responsible for kind of trying to be a referee or a traffic director, but it was demanding. It was demanding on all of us. So
I think the rain has just picked up.
It sure did.
outside.
Know what
Wow.
that is? Wow.
That's
Oh, on the
unbelievable.
skylight there. Yeah.
So Jen, let's talk about some of your accomplishments.
Oh.
And we know, like one thing I know that you helped facilitate was better signage to steer people towards Magnolia and the retailers there.
I was so happy to help with that. I was really a very small part in that whole thing, but I feel very strongly that Magnolia and specifically Lexington Avenue and the surrounding businesses are going through sort of a renaissance. And there are some really talented people in Ward 5 in West Gloucester who have their businesses in Magnolia, and they deserve recognition. I asked the Chamber for help with that, the Chamber of Commerce. I asked the city's Economic Development Department for help with that. There is signage. It's small, but it's there. I really want to thank Alana and Rebecca and everybody else who started up the Magnolia Community Farmers Market. That has been an absolute boon for local businesses, for Lexington Avenue, and it was really terrific during the pandemic to be able to order fresh food remotely and come pick it up and enjoy camaraderie with my friends from a distance. But to know that I was helping and helping as best I could to keep the community alive.
Yeah.
They have nice signs too, the Magnolia Farmers Market. I know.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a big one in our yard.
Basically, yeah, it was a true COVID success story.
Yeah.
It was,
Yes, it was.
how that took off. Pretty amazing stuff.
Yep.
So, Jen, do you want to comment at all about what has been going on at City Hall and how that has affected the group? I know that a lot of familiar faces are bowing out this year. There's a lot of new people running for elections this fall. But just what has it been like navigating those waters for the last year or so?
Well, I'm, as a nurse, I'm a pretty tough person. I know I don't look it, but I am, and it's been tough on all of us. I can't speak for anyone else besides myself, but we all have our reasons for doing what we're doing, and I respect the service that everybody on the council and the mayor and all the city employees have put into really their everyday duties, especially during this really, I hate to use this word, but unprecedented time. There really was no playbook for COVID. I read recently that a lot of elected officials are stepping down across the country, but hopefully the turnover will help. I think it'll help us as a community to sort of reassess our priorities, to see where we're going. And I do think that turnover is healthy. It's important to have different listening ears and different perspectives.
So do you think there's a sense of exhaustion? Do you feel exhaustion? Do you think the city leaders feel that? Do you think there was a turn when the vaccine happened and everyone kind of said, oh, and they maybe just fell apart a little bit?
Well, I myself didn't feel the turn. I'm still being very cautious, but I will say, I don't know, as we've slowly reopened, people are just kind of relaxing a little bit and really feeling like they can get together with their friends and family again. I sort of feel like, at least for me, this past year, I would joke, but it's not really a joke. I would take, a nap every single day and cry intermittently. I mean, it was tough. It was tough on everybody because you just don't know what's going on. We were building the airplane as it was going down the runway, as it were, So I feel like just now I'm starting to wake up again. Really, having face-to-face interactions with people is healthy. It's what we're meant to do as a society, and I adore my family. But it's important for all of us to just sort of start assimilating with each other again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we have to practice having dinner parties.
That would be a lot of fun.
That,
Yeah. Practice dinner parties. Yeah.
So, Jen, what advice would you give to a hopeful at-large councilor?
Ooh, that's a good question. Listen, knowing that you have opinions, but what you need to bring to the table are other people's opinions. And that's a very difficult balance to strike sometimes. I certainly made mistakes. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm hoping that I'll continue to do better in the future. I think with age comes wisdom, and I'm 41 now, and I'm kind of excited about that. I think that the experience of running is very important. It's a terrific learning experience. It's a privilege, but I think probably the most important thing is that as a representative, you're giving other people's opinions when you're up on that dais. So,
well said. Well, Jen, we appreciate your service. We really do.
Thank you very,
We're sorry
very
to see you
much.
go.
Oh, thank
But
you, Kory.
the next
Thank
time
you,
we're in
Heather.
Ward 5, maybe you can
can't
come
wait to
on
come back.
in civvies, right?
Yeah,
And chat with us
yeah.
about all the great things going on here again. Yeah. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah,
It's
thanks
lovely to
again.
see you both.
It's
Thank
great to
you.
see you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And best of luck in the next step.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
good
much.
luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. It's
Bye.
Jen Holmgren. She's the outgoing at-large councilor for the city of Gloucester and Ward 5 resident.
know.
Some great stuff there. So
I'm going to get confused when we go to another ward.
we'll walk through all that for
Okay,
you.
thank
too.
you. Yeah.
And fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, not an easy time in City Hall too. But we have great people in there serving, and we're all sort of trying to get through this together.
Anyone who serves is great. It's
Yeah.
just it's tough to get elected. It's
Yeah.
tough to do the job. It's tough.